Hey kids, welcome back. It's sunny and a bit warmer today. Spring is definitely in the air. Hypersensitivity. That's a topic, and especially in the situation we are in right now, it's a tough world for people with hypersensitivity. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people in distress of what we are witnessing everywhere now in politics and so on. And my take on this, because I think I am a bit of a hypersensitive person, the difference is I'm also very good at disciplining my mind, and I'm also quite good at just training it. And that's the part I want to get to. I think it is in the interest of each and everyone who is hypersensitive to train your mind to become less sensitive. And while this is easier said than done, of course, I think it's crucial for survival. Otherwise, you will get constantly drawn into things mentally that you cannot control. Many people choose another path. They choose to not engage in the things that triggers them. They tend to need safe spaces. And I get it. And there's also one good argument for this, and that is that, well, maybe I don't want to choose to see the nasty things that triggers me every day, which is a good take if you are hypersensitive. But I think in the long run, a better take is basically cognitive behavior therapy. Self-induced, self-inflicted one, where you make sure that you look at the things that annoys you. Because here's the thing, if you do this enough, even if you are hypersensitive, it will become less and less triggering. You will, in effect, become stronger mentally. And not only that, you will also finely tune and hone in on arguments that you otherwise wouldn't come into contact with. It's a simple fact. Everything you do, and you do often, you will become better at, you will become more knowledgeable in, you will become more skilled. It means if you are constantly looking at content on the internet that triggers you, that annoys you, your political counterpart, the opposition of what everything you stand for, if you constantly do this, you will learn the arguments. And you can easier, I would say, rebut them. You can easily come up with good counter arguments. And that will give you a better peace of mind, actually. And I think in the long run, even if you have a lot of people you are constantly disagreeing with, that you basically have lost all hope for, I think it's a better choice to get to understand them. Because digging trenches, no matter if you're hypersensitive or not, has never, ever led to a peaceful resolution. I think we are seeing a world where people are digging trenches right now, and they're digging them deep. People are moving away from certain platforms because sometimes they think that, well, I'm not going to see any more of this shit. And I get it. I'm not always watching things I disagree with. That would be basically sadistic of myself. I would probably not handle it too well. And sometimes you've heard it 10 times over, and there's no point. I get that as well. But trust me, you haven't heard it all. You haven't heard every standpoint, and very often you've heard the standpoint from someone else. Someone else who disagrees with this person, someone else you agree with, and you are listening to what they say to you. And in effect, you're not actually listening directly to what people are saying. I've noticed that this has changed me in some respects. I've stopped listening to people I already agree with because I'm feeling that a lot of them are using very superficial, very vague and very dumb arguments against the opposition, because I know what the opposition is actually saying. You level up, basically. You feel like you have leveled up, and those who you're used to listen to, they don't actually use the same good arguments that you can do yourself. I think this is good. I've noticed it's good for me that I've constantly done this. I've constantly battled things I've found stupid. It's in my nature to do so. I'm very argumentative. I've always been. I've never fled from a discussion in a topic I felt I had knowledge in, and a topic I felt that my opponent especially had very little knowledge in. I'm basically a type of person drawn to debating people I feel are dumb, especially people that of course are dumb and have an opinion that I'm not agreeing with at all. But I'm actually sometimes, I feel an itch to actually debate people I agree with, because in the end, having a dumb argument that your opponents can easily refute is not a good thing. It's better. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight. Let's put it that way. And a lot of people I agree with bring knives to gunfights. And it's horrific, because not only is this person losing this fight, there's a lot of people seeing this person losing this fight, this verbal fight, and by doing so, they are strengthening the opposition, making them feel more confident, maybe even gaining more supporters. And that's what we're seeing constantly in politics. The leader steps up to fight another leader in a debate and loses. That's horrible when they do that, because the risk is substantial that by losing they are going to hurt the cause for everyone. So I constantly, for this reason, always be prepared in every debate I engage in, to have knowledge on all arguments and have knowledge on the art of arguing itself. Of course, that is essential. I'm amazed how many people who engage in argument lack basic skills in rhetorics. It's horrible to watch. They have this strange idea of rhetoric being this fair battleground where, oh, this is good rhetoric, this is bad rhetoric. No, that's not how it works. In reality, there is efficient rhetoric and there is inefficient rhetoric. That's how it works. I know all about fallacies and so on, because they are used everywhere. But the thing is, most people don't. And if you actually believe that a good speaker avoids fallacies, you are incredibly naive. All good speakers use fallacies constantly. Because the art of rhetoric is not avoiding fallacies. It's actually knowing when they are used and knowing how to use them yourself. Think about it as, Yoda. He knows how to use force lightning. He doesn't choose to do so because he's a good guy. Anyways, the point is not how rhetoric works. It is that I think a lot of people are doing themselves a disservice by avoiding spaces on the internet where people are saying things they hate, because it will weaken them. This is basic cognitive behavioral therapy 101. If you avoid something that triggers you, it is not going to get better. And yeah, the simple fact that sometimes you don't want to engage in things, I get it. But if you feel an interest in a topic, you should always pick to listen to your opponents. It's there you learn stuff. It's there you learn how to tune and hone in on your arguments, and it's there you strengthen your tolerance, actually. Because in many cases, they have points, albeit twisted perceptions, maybe. But you need to listen to your opponents to understand this. So I'm not a proponent of safe spaces at all. I don't like seeing people fleeing from one platform to another to a place where no one can say anything remotely triggering before getting banned. I started up this account on Blue Sky because I thought, a new platform. This is going to be interesting. And I really didn't, like many others, I don't like X and Twitter and what Elon Musk is all about. But I quickly realized that, holy shit, Blue Sky is boring. There's only a lot of people there saying nice things to each other. And there's a passive aggressiveness between the lines, between what people are actually saying. Because, of course, even if you are in a safe space and you generally agree with people, you don't agree with everything. But the safe space makes discussion about things virtually impossible. I've also noticed this thing lately. We did a group work in school, and when you do stuff together, there's going to be different opinions, and there's going to be various levels of engagement in things. And I noticed from my classmate, especially one, that she felt it incredibly uncomfortable saying what she thought about stuff. She was afraid to express an opinion about other people's work. And there's also, this person is much younger than me. So I said from the start, hey, just bring it. I can take it. Because I can. Not because I'm not bothered by critique. I actually am. I actually am incredibly bothered by critique because I'm hypersensitive. But I can also see myself being bothered from an outside perspective. I can also handle it for this very reason. Because I'm trained to deal with things for my own benefit. I've chosen this path. So even if I disagreed with a lot of the comments, a lot of the perspective, I made sure that, well, if you're going to disagree, make sure you back it up with some important stuff and look at the scales. Look at those important scales. The scales that measure, is this important? A lot of people should put a lot more effort in having a scale like that in your mind. A scale that measures the importance of stuff. Is this important to get annoyed with? That this person is wanting to change something you have done? Is it important enough to get offended by? And so on. And if I chose a path in life where I constantly looked for safe spaces, where I constantly avoided things because I'm sensitive, that would mean I could never handle these things. I would be in constant conflict. And my younger self came into conflict constantly over these things because I choose violence all the time. I never used a scale. I ignored scales. I thought that, well, I'm right, so therefore it should be like this. And I had the arguments. I didn't ever filter one of these things, which is also one of the reasons I have very few older friends. I was obnoxious in all kinds of ways. I was probably horrific to be around if you had strong opinions yourself, because I wouldn't back down, regardless of the topic, how little it mattered. So, I've matured and I have learned to use this scale, to choose my fights when they are important, and to actually really use this scale to realize this isn't important. The size of the font in the text in a specific place isn't important. Just do what the other person says. It doesn't matter. Because the other person is obviously having a stronger opinion on this than you. And why? Why should you become annoyed with something as trivial as that? There's so much shit going on in the world. So, a scale, have that one ready all the time. And go back to the original topic again of the world and choosing to look at crappy things instead of avoiding them. I get it. If it is something very personal to you, yourself, your person, your character, your values, your sexuality, your gender, your everything that is you identity-wise, it is going to be very hard to just, listen to dumb things and take it. I get it. I'm not saying that choosing to listen to things is easy. I'm not saying you're going to like it. No. What I am saying is it is cognitive behavior therapy, because it will strengthen you. And you can't avoid idiots. Idiots are everywhere, and as we can see, they are gaining in force, and I don't think we have seen the end of it. Oh no. I think that we are going, as I have expressed in other videos, I think we are going for darker times, where we are going for a world where idiocracy is something we are going to see happen right before our eyes. And in that world, you're better off to be strong and experienced with dumb things, so you can handle it, as it is with everything you have trouble with in your life that we go to the therapist for, to learn how to deal with cognitive behavior therapy and so on. As with every kind of things, one thing I picked up my own therapy sessions for my borderline is this. There's not anything in the world you can't apply this perspective on, this cognitive behavior therapy perspective on, for your own sake, that is. And I'm not saying this to make you become, don't care about things, to become cynical. I'm saying this to the people who are similar to me, who are hypersensitive, who are struggling with just everything and not getting triggered. We benefit more from this than anybody else, because it gives us a fighting chance to be on the same level as quote unquote normal people that handle these things without getting triggered easily. I think that is a good thing for yourself, for your well-being, because being triggered rarely helps you to make the best choices, to make make the finest thing for yourself in life. When you're triggered, you make bad choices. It's as simple as that. So, I can easily recommend to stop hiding in safe bubbles and engage with the idiots. Look at them right, at least from time to time. Maybe not on a everyday level, but do it. So tune into the news media that you dislike, tune into the web page you hate, and actually tune into the ones who are really nasty, to remind you that, oh shit, the world is filled with nasty people and this is what they are saying. And they are laughing at me getting triggered by them saying this. So let's start with me not getting so triggered, at least not expressing myself getting triggered. That's a good start. To deprive them of the joy of that. And watch that what I can handle it. I can handle you saying nasty things, being a shit of a person. That doesn't change. You still are. I'm not telling you to listen to idiots to get an understanding and sympathy for them. I mean, in certain cases, there are things to be sympathetic about. Sure, there are. But, and this is important, this is for your own benefit. That's why. That's the main reason. So, a long rant about the need and we all have for safe spaces when we are feeling triggered, and how I don't really like those things. So, if you disagree with me, if you think that safe spaces are the way to go, to dig trenches, to create even stronger bubbles, sure. Go ahead, write so in the comment sections. As I've said, I'm pretty sure there are topics where there's no point. I mean, when we go into things like racism, there's very little point of trying to argue with a full-blown racist. Of course there is. Very difficult. But I do know that a lot of people have stopped being racist by a very simple solution. They've hung out a lot more with people from the other race. Because guess what? That helps. That helps a lot. Because that shows that the people who are driven by emotions, strong emotions like hate, are often very susceptible, or how shall I put it? Yeah, susceptible is a good word, for changing. Because in that strong emotional state they are in, because they are not rational at all. Hatred is not rational in general. It can be, but not in those cases where you have hatred for just a group of people. You will notice that just meeting and normalizing and not demonizing each other helps. And so go into the platforms where the worst of the worst hang out and talk to them. And yeah, you will not reach very many of them with your presence and make anything a lot better, but there's always a slight or a tiny chance you do, and that's a win. And you will have also gained from it, because you will have gotten free of charge cognitive behavior therapy, which we all need, especially highly sensitive people. So, this has been a little video on my perspective, and this is the Borderline Man signing off.